Favor.
Okay. And we moved up the discussion on the Nikwasi Initiative proposal. Ms. McRae?
As you all know, the Nikwasi Initiative is an organization that really the town is part of, Macon County is part of it, the Eastern Band of Cherokee Indians, and Mainspring Conservation Trust. We've been meeting for quite a long while. And what has come forward is a proposal to deed the Indian Mound to this organization, which is a community development organization. And that means a community development organization is a nonprofit that is a community-based, it's a corporation focused on revitalizing the areas in which they are located. That's formally what they are. In this case, that includes the area around Nikwasi Mound. It also includes development of the Cherokee Heritage Corridor, which is an element of economic development for Franklin, Cowie, Cherokee, and surrounding areas. The Board of Nikwasi Initiative is made up of representatives appointed by the 4 partners, which are the town, the county, the Cherokees, and Mainspring. Juanita Wilson, I'd like to recognize her. She came over from Cherokee tonight. She and I are the co-chairs of the Nikwasi Initiative now. So what this will do is allow the Cherokees finally, after 200 years, to have some representation in the management of the mound. I think it's kind of interesting. 1819 was the treaty by which they lost this territory. And then there was an effort made to allow them to protect the sacred places like the mounds through a reservation system. And that was undone in violation of the treaty. And so now, 200 years later, we have an opportunity to do something really historic and to reverse that wrong. And I'd just like to say it's truly, truly exciting. I think through the Nikwasi Initiative and through the Mountain Partners which preceded it, we've had an opportunity to become much closer as partners and friends and understanding each other better, and all the group that has been involved in that has been very, very active, and we're getting ready to unveil the first phase of the corridor, which will be this beautiful kiosk at 3 locations. The one at Cowie is up. If you want to go see it, there's a viewing stand overlooking the Cowie Mound and village site on the other side of the river, and we'll have a kiosk like it soon, like Nikwasi, with interpretive panels so people will understand what happened there. I wrote this very long statement, and I don't want to read it. If anybody wants to pick one up, I made some extra copies, but it kind of gives my rationale, the reason I'm so excited about this. I want to give Juanita a chance to say something tonight. Juanita, if you want to come up to the front and just say something from your heart.
That's how I do best. I don't do very well with prepared speeches. Shonagata, Juanita Unishi Dogodolo, saying hello to all of you. I'm Juanita Wilson. This touches me in a way you guys will probably never know. It was probably 10, 15 years ago I had a vision for creating a cultural corridor that would connect our mounds, our historical sites, and not just that of the Cherokee, but that of, there's so many cultures throughout Western North Carolina. You know, your Scottish, and your Irish heritage, and Appalachian people. We depended on each other way back in the day for a very survival. And for this to happen, and you guys to support it in such a strong way, I'm not trying not to get too emotional, but bringing that back home it reunites us, and no one loses anything, and we all gain so very much by doing this. The Mountain Partners came together over a controversy. I'll just go ahead and put that out there. But what we've been able to do to heal that and move on and get to this level of collaboration and partnership and really love for one another is amazing, and I think it's to be a model for a lot of other counties and a lot of other states, and where however far it can go. And we need it in this time of division and not caring for each other, and not in so much disagreement going on across the world. I don't know what to say other than if you will support this, I'll do the very best that I can to make sure we stay strong. Barbara's a wonderful partner, and we have a lot of trust and support from my side, from the Eastern Band. And I think we can only make that stronger. And they're stepping forward in a way that's unprecedented for the Eastern Band. I'll just say that too. So I won't be long-winded, but I do appreciate everybody that's had a part in this, and it's just been amazing to watch it unfold all these years of working so hard on it. So,
Thank you so much. And the little paper that I wrote, I called it, We Are All People of the Mountains. And I think that's what we've learned in the course of this, that we really have so many things in common. We are one people, and I think it's time for us to recognize that. That can be our strength going forward to really develop the economies of all of our areas and bring us all together. So with that, I would like to ask all of you if you would agree to this historic transfer to...
What's the steps? What's the next steps?
Well, that would be up to John.
It's up to the board, but.
Well, yeah, but I need to write do a
But,
deed.
I mean, we
that-
wouldn't be agreeing to anything tonight, we'd be agreeing to move forward.
Yes.
Correctly.
To allow him to prepare.
And what would be involved is a working agreement, obviously a deed transfer, and to work out the details of it.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong on it, I'm very much for this, but I just want to make sure that it's not a decision we make tonight. In the end, it's the decision to start going forward, and I'm certainly
Yeah.
favorable to
Yes.
that.
And I agree procedurally, you're in a position to advance the process tonight, and it would be at your next meeting where I would have a deed for you that would be ready to legally finally transfer ownership of the property to the initiative. You can do that. There are restrictions in the deed that the town holds now, but they basically are, for one, I'm not sure how enforceable it is, because it purports to give standing to every citizen in the town of Franklin that if you ever were to transfer it in a deed that interfered with your historic preservation of the property, they could potentially, make a claim. But that's exactly what you're trying to do here, and this kind of transfer is contemplated in state law, where you would transfer to a nonprofit corporation, and you're actually required in state law to do so with a preservation agreement or conservation agreement in the deed. So it's going to be very clear to everybody exactly the terms under which it's being transferred to the initiative. So that will be at your next meeting.
I think we'll also need the makeup of the Nikwasi Foundation, how it's established, and because I think we're going to have to look at that as well too, to see what we're deeding it over to from the town standpoint. The makeup of the
And I think that's
Nikwasi
appropriate. I
Foundation.
think it does need to be a nonprofit corporation, and I understand it is a 501c3 already.
It is a 501c3, yes. it
So,
is.
I mean, that tells me a couple of things right there. It's got corporate status, and it's already been through the very large hoop of
And
federal.
it is a community development corporation, so, which is the appropriate type of vehicle.
I move that the manager with council move forward in the appropriate manner to keep this, yes, Don?
I just want to ask something before we do that. What happens, I know we're just about moving forward, but if the nonprofit dissolved, how would that revert in such deed that you were?
That is part of what the conservation agreement is going to, that's right there in the deed, is going to spell out, if it ever was to. I mean, also, I think you could take some comfort in the idea that as a 501c, it's already pledged to the federal government. None of this is going to any private benefit, so it would have its own obligation to wrap up by transferring it to another nonprofit type entity, or it could potentially revert straight to the town, if that entity folded for some reason.
Well, I mean, yes, whatever, the devil's in the details, something, whatever extent is, but I'm thinking that I want us to explore a little deeper, right?
Well, I was only asking that, trying to see if you came back next month and we said, oh, put this in it or something to help speed it along, was the only reason I asked that question.
Is there a time frame that we want, that y'all would like to see?
Well, if you'd asked the chief, he'd say sooner the
Oh,
better.
of course, yeah. You look at the calendar.
No, we're,
May would be ideal.
yeah, so honestly, and all, May would be really good. It's spring and everything.
Which would
is
give us the opportunity at
renewable,
our
yeah.
April meeting to hash it out some more.
That'd be good.
Mhm.
I guess the other question I have, when do you think that we can have a architect's drawing of what it's proposed to be like, and if you can get the property?
For the kiosk,
Well, the kiosk, I've seen
You
that,
seen
yes,
it,
it
okay.
looks very nice, very
You mean
nice.
for
yeah.
the museum?
Hmm?
What are you talking
Yeah.
about for the museum?
Yeah.
oh, okay, we've met on that, so I think it's possible to
Okay,
give you something.
good.
Yeah, that's what we talked about. I'll second Joe's motion.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay. All right.
Thank you all so
Okay,
much.
Ms. McRae, do you have anything else?
Nope.
Okay, all right, we'll move on.